Mawutsotsi bemele u-excel kuko konke. You must know ukuphanda, you must know how to kushaya dice, ube good futhi nasempini. People they were afraid ukudlala ama-dice because of indaba zokubulalana yabona. Mawushaya ama-dice sometimes mawubadla ke. Because kaningi beqala lapho ukuthi angeke uthathe imali yami just like that nje ngokurola ama-dice. Khona abanye bebakuvumela ukudliwa, khona umunye nje bekutshela angeke. In the meantime usaquma lapha phansi usathi popo umdlile lo muntu yena ume ngenyawo wena ugobile ukushaya khona ulala khona lapho phezulu kwama-dice naleyo mali ahamba ejardini. It's very rare nakhona ukuthi amaphoyisa azongena intervene there because udaki bekabulala udaki. It was fine yabo, it was fine but nje hey beku hectic ngendawo zakudala mfana, beku hectic. Unlike manje, I know these young ones baya understand akuyazi ukuthi emadayisini uyadliwa. Ngalezo nkathi abantu bebadlala amadayisi bekabantu abaphandayo. Umphando wakho iriyontshontsha ikara, maqeda ukuthola leyo kara leyo uyathatha imali uyodlala amadayisi. Nakhona awudlala amadayisi people bebangathanda ama-dice, bebathanda imali. No, makaqeda ukuyokhendla or mhlawumbe aqeda ukutshontsha ikara then avale lezo ikhalanyana lesele ayengaya emadayisini. You know, people kuthi abantu bebahlala bebelievele emphandweni kunje. Mawumuntu or uyindoda kumele uhlale uphandile ngaso sonke isikhathi because sometimes kunokuthuma babathuma umntana eshop bekathathelwe imali angithi bakangena ema-shop la eceleni bayaquma kudlalwa ama-dice. Lo dliwe wabona lo mntwana umthathele imali azoyifaka la emadayisini. So lo mntwana kumele ayobiza ubabakhe, ubabakhe makeza uzolwa la kuyakwazona derende bebakhona vele labo bantu labo webhayi amadayisi futhi awahambele. Thola ukamjavele White City, the biggest game like yaseSoweto. Lapha ke akudlalwa imali encane lapha kuqala abantu bapheja ngemoto, abantu bapheja ngezindlu. Damn, iskoool maybe school sakhona siqala boma 5 clip. Mina according to me umjavela uyu number 1 Knoxman. Yes, uNoxman uyaba khona Dumikasi. La adlale la operate la khona. Same applies nabutsotsi. Utsotsi ikasi lakhe. Makaphuma yakwelinye ikasi uyafana nabanye abantu. Mara makase ikasi lakhe utshelwa yiwengu ukuthi baba uyamazi lo muntu lo wenza kanje uzokwenza busy. But man hlangana khona awumbona awumuzwa nga next nempamo ungayishaya. Mara ikasi lakhe they will remind ukuthi baba ubonile ukuthi ushaye baba. Kuzonyiwa. So umjavela in terms umjavela mina I can say number 1 Knoxman because umuntu odume iSoweto yonke, you know, akadumanga mhlambe White City kuphela. Yabona mina ngibuyezola but umjavela ngiyamazi ngiloku ngisezola. It tells you itshela esinye story lento ukuthi this guy is big, you know, is big in the way. Yes, number 1 Knoxman the whole South Africa. It is like kahle it deserve ukuthi abe ne casino because from back in the days phela umjavela sikhulumi ngentwana, sikhuluma ngumkhulu uNoxman, umkhulu impilo yakhe yonke le yamuntu lo yana ushaya dice, you know, White City nomuntu umdirect uthi yabona mawufika lapho uthi ucela ukwehla kamjavela emadayisini, you know how big that guy it is. Taxi owners, taxi drivers, they know ukuthi ukamjavela uyadlula la. As ngisho ukuthi nje kushoda nje building la nje ukuthi kube casino, you know, and follow the right protocols and regulations ukuthi azabe nento esemthethweni, you know, since ever. People they were dying there, this guy is there. People they getting rich, they lost their houses, their money. That guy is still standing. You know, he's still the Mjavela that we know till today. uNoxman ufana ne owner casino. If ufuna ukudlala uthola uNoxman uphethe, let's say mhlambe igame ithi 250 wena uphethe 200, uNoxman kumele agcwalisele uzokhona ukushaya izosala le mali. Lo kudala bekungana ama light, uNoxman kumele athenge ikhandlela kukhanye lapha ya, so that abantu bazokhona ukudlala. You rent lapha ya, mhlambe let's say bathi 3 down, that means ushaya i3 washaya amapupu i3 AS4 you pay, you rent. He's running the show there mabathu Noxman. Sometimes unokushaya idice lihlale phezulu kwemali, babuza Noxman yini le ukuthi mhlawumbe idice lime squares, sekuzodependa ngejudgment yakhe ukuthi hayi baba ipopo le or ayi crap, because idice linokuma scans. Umsebenzi kaNoxman lo, uNoxman kumele enze sure ukuthi ibhodi likhona nestyle sokubamba ama dice. Idice kumele ulishake lizwakala khahla uliphonse. Then kunabanye nje balibamba ngamakhanda makaliphonsa kanje lihlala the way abekalibambe ngakhona. Kuya ngumuntu ukuthi ulibambe kanjani, but ukulibamba kwakhe then they said ne baba idice kaligcwala esandleni lishake silizwe likhohluza khulu, because mawuzolibamba uliphonse uzaba khala Noxman bheka ukuthi wenzani. Hayi bheka ngeke ngizodliwa kanje. If uNoxman akayikhuzi bazomkhuza ngomesi. So it's very sensitive into enenyuku phakathi, very sensitive. uNoxman is more like the owner of that gambling, as to make it in short, yabo, it's an owner ya ngalelo langa, because sometimes you can ube uNoxman today kusasa ungabe uNoxman, because khona umuntu ufike eqala or khona umuntu uthatha ibhox walibeka lapha yana then wabamba isikotokoti. uNoxman umbona ngithini or whatever, mara kaning ithini malila kulo muntu lo wherever la ubuya khona mawubona ithini liseduze kwami, that means uNoxman. In short, uNoxman is the guy who's calling the shot ngalelo la.